Hey y'all, it's Nancy, the Handy Scandy. Welcome back for another crafty venture. We are hopping along with Card Hoppin Group one more time for 2022. This is obviously our December hop, and our theme is snow, and the techniques are splatter or sprays. That's the card I'm making today, and of course I had to use both splatters and sprays. So here are the products I'll be using. The Snow Sweet stamp set from my favorite things. It was from last year. The Hero Arts Oval Infinity dies, as well as a 5x7 card base. I'm using a little bit of Canson XL watercolor card, as well as a Lawn Fawn Spooky Fence and Penny Tree or Penny Black Tree Border. So I start out with my sprays. I pulled out some Shimmering Bliss that I've not used in a while. And I have the colors Ocean Depth as well as Dazzle. Then I'm also using my Distress Mica Stain. It's from Christmas this year. It's called Snow Flurries. So I just want it to gradiate from a dark blue down to a white, and that's where the Dazzle comes in, is the white. It's not really white, but it's very iridescent. So I'm just spraying, as you can see. I started by spraying my cardstock with a little bit of water just to get those sprays moving when they first got on there, and then I come back and forth with some more water as well as some sprays. So guys, don't be afraid to pick it up, to pick up your paper, move it around, get those colors blending and moving, and just get your fingers in there. Remember, wet on wet blends, wet on dry layers. So I wanted it to blend, and I'm very happy with that blend. And then you saw that I hit it with my heat tool. And now comes the splatter. Many layers of splatter. This is just kind of the first layer, and it has all three colors. So I'm using the darker blue, which was again the Snow Flurries, and then the lighter blue is the Ocean Depth Shimmering Bliss from Technique Junkies. And this third one is, of course, the Dazzle, and that just really adds the sparkle and the shine because you really don't see much of it. But then I wanted to come in with some white to be more snowflakes, so not just kind of the darker snowflakes, because when it's a real blizzard, you see like the white right in front of you, but then you also see some darker ones off in the distance. And so I just kind of wanted all of that on there. And some of these are really big and kind of blotchy, and I'm in love with it. So what I did not tell you though was the white. It's an acrylic ink from Amsterdam. And I feel like I got this and I started using it, and suddenly I'm seeing everybody use it. But, it is what it is. I know I'm not the first one to use it. It's just funny that you notice those things. So you can see that I was auditioning my oval, trying to figure out exactly what part of my cardstock that I want to use, my painted panel, if you will. And then I'm putting up my borders because I don't want to cover up too much of the background. But this is going to be my scene. This oval is essentially my scene. So I figured out what I wanted, and I'm cutting out both the tree border as well as the fence just out of some cardstock from my stash. It's just in my scrap bin. They're actually both fairly light. I think they're both only 80 pound, 85 pound maybe. And so as always, auditioning my pieces, I do this a lot. This is just part of my process. I don't show the whole process because you don't want to see how many times I line things up and move them around and change places. But anyway, I think I've got it figured out. And then I run my pieces, my borders through my die cut machine with that oval as well, because I want them to have that nice, crisp, defined edge. But in this case, it was kind of moot because it kind of cuts my trees, and then I don't put them in the right place anyway. So I have to go in and use my scissors to snip off the excess, which truly would have been the perfect plan anyway. That's what I typically do. I don't know why I thought I needed to run it through my die cut machine. And then the second tree from the left, I actually cut off the tip, and because I didn't put it in the right place, it's just, yeah, you guys know, if you've been with me for any amount of time, I'm always a comedy of errors, and it's because I don't plan, and I know that. And in the new year, I hope to do that a little bit better. Still be true to me, being the intuitive crafter that I am, but maybe plan a little bit more. Anyway, you can see my scene coming together here. It's not perfect. I've got some seams there, but we'll cover those up. It will be some creative camouflage. And here, of course, I have my little sweet critters and little girl. Do you call a snowman a critter? I don't know. Anyway, they're absolutely adorable. And of course, I'm using my Arteza Everblend Ultras to color them up. I have them stamped out in some Memento black ink this time. And just want to make sure when you're stamping with some Memento or any ink that stays wet for a long time, that either you hit it with your heat tool, you go ahead and heat emboss it to make sure that the ink is dry, or you allow it to dry, or even blot it off. So sometimes you can just put a piece of cardstock over it and kind of rub it and allow that cardstock, the scrap, to absorb any excess ink. So lots of different ways that you can manage that wetter ink, but they just give such crisp details and images. I really like stamping with those. So as I color this up, obviously I'm only coloring the snowman, and it's just because sometimes we tend to forget that white is not the absence of color, really, especially a white image, like whether it's a snowman or the bunny, or gosh, if you're doing a polar bear or a penguin, anything like that, they all have shadows, and that's what gives them depth and dimension. So I just kind of used a blue-gray to go around some of the edges, only some of the edges on my snowman, and I'm using my blender pen just to kind of smudge it all out, blend it out, and I think it's absolutely adorable. It has so much depth and dimension just by adding that little bit of color around some of the places where a shadow would be. And then I'm using my Marvy Snow Pen. I've used that a lot this year already. And I hit their little hats as well as her cuffs with the snow. And then, of course, heat it up with my heat tool to give it some of that fun, puffy dimension and texture. And I think that just adds a really sweet detail. I wanted to do it on the bunny tails, but I wasn't sure if I was going to use all three of them. And I didn't want to lose that curly Q detail on their tails. So, of course, I fussy cut everything out because that tends to be what I do. Again, as I always say, you just want to mostly hold your scissor still and move your image. Not move your scissor very much. You move that image around so that your scissor can stay still, and that gives you a nice smooth edge. So another way that I'm using my sprays as well as splatters is I am spraying down this embossing folder. Now this is an oldie but a goodie from Stampin' Up. It's one of a few things that I've kept in my stash, and I just love it. It gives so much beautiful texture and dimension. And so I sprayed the whole thing down with the Dazzle. Then you can see I'm adding the splatter with the ocean depth as well as the snow flurries to get some of those darker dots on there, and figuring out which side is the front and exactly where I want it, because this kind of creates the overflow of my scene, if you will. And of course, running it through my die cut machine to emboss the panel. And it's so very pretty, guys. I can't wait for you to see this texture. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? So while I go on with my process and you guys watch, let me tell you a little bit about this hop. Of course, we've said before, it's the Card Hoppin hop. And it is a year, and this I think is our second year. I think we're going into our third year, if I'm not mistaken. A year of fun techniques and themes. So again, the theme for this month is snow. The techniques are splatter and or sprays. And I'm not sure actually what 2023 is going to bring. I know that Jen, who is our fearless leader, has a bunch of other ideas and plans in store for us. So we'll just have to see what happens. But it's always fun to participate with my friends here. So the next person in the lineup will be listed downstairs in my description box. So you want to make sure that you hop along, see all the beautiful inspiration, and see how everybody else has interpreted this theme and what techniques they use and how they put them into practice. It's amazing. You can take the same, obviously, the themes and the techniques. You could even take the same supplies, and we're all going to come up with something completely different. They might have similarities, but they're going to be different because we're all different. And that's one of the things that I absolutely love about creativity. So as I finish putting my scene together, remember to check downstairs for the next person in the lineup. And if I can, I'll list the whole lineup. That way, if you get lost along the way or if somebody's link isn't working or something, you can always hop back here and carry on with the hop. So yes, make sure that you hop along, like, subscribe, comment, all those wonderful things. And let me know your thoughts on this card, guys. Do you like the sprays and the splatter? Should I have done one or the other? Am I too extra? I always feel like I'm a little too extra, at least for some people. Some people I know you're right there with me. You're loving it. You might even add more. I don't know. But as I finish this scene, I think it's absolutely adorable, and it comes together as a sweet composition with all of the extra. And I'm really happy that I extended the scene with that cable knit sweater panel, if you will. And I love that the actual scene itself is just kind of popped up out of the middle of that, and it's just, I think together just creates an overall nice composition. You guys tell me what you think. I know everybody has to love this set. I can't, or this stamp set. I can't take credit for that. Obviously, that's MST. And I want to say her name is Stacy Yakula, if I'm remembering correctly. But I will have everything that I'm using listed and linked downstairs. Some of them may be affiliate links, but if I can't find the exact product, then I'll link to something similar. And of course, if you use any of my links that are affiliate links, that will allow me to potentially earn a little bit of commission based on your purchase at no extra cost to you. So I appreciate that, and just know that that is one way that you can support your favorite crafters out there. And as you hop along, keep that in mind, because you might find your next favorite crafter, your next favorite creator or card maker as you hop along with us. So guys, thank you so much. This has been Nancy, the Handy Scandy. I appreciate you spending some time with me on this Card Hoppin' Hop for December 2022. And again, the theme was snow, and the techniques are splatters and sprays. And I'm excited to see what everyone else has. Thanks, guys. Until next time. Mwah! I'm out.